Yes, people, welcome back to M.V.P Sports and welcome to the weekly podcast. I know it's been a while. We had that Carabao Cup final, we had the international break, which was a couple of weeks, and we had the FA Cup, and we just had the Champions League, and now back finally to Premier League. It feels like it's been so long. But yeah, today we're going to just go through some of the big weekend fixtures, do some match predictions. We'll touch on the Arsenal game in a bit more depth, obviously because I'm an Arsenal fan. We'll have a look at the kind of battle for the now top five, thanks to us. I'm sure you've all seen the reel. It's having a kind of a bit of a viral moment. Lots of people in the comments on that one, but yeah, obviously our win against Sporting means that the fifth spot in the Premier League has been opened up for a Champions League spot. So we'll get into the implications of that, what it means, and what it means in terms of the table. We'll have a look at the relegation scrap. And yeah, we're just going to get into all things football, man. It's been a while, so I'm excited for this one because I can't get into. I mean, we had that shit result in the cup, in the Carabao Cup against City. Then it went straight into an international break. Then we've come back and got knocked out of the FA Cup by Southampton. And then luckily we've redeemed it somewhat against Sporting. A good performance going away from home there. I think they haven't lost a game this season. I don't think they conceded a goal. No, they haven't failed to score at home, and they haven't lost a game at home this season. So we've kind of stopped them from scoring and managed to get away from there with a 1-0 win. And I think, look, at this point in the competition, especially in the Champions League, I always say the quarters and the semis isn't about your performance. It's just about getting through. You just have to get through because it's a cup competition. It's a knockout competition at this stage. You just have to get through. And most teams, if you would have offered them in their first leg to go away from home, get a 1-0 win and being able to bring it back to their home ground in the second leg, I think they'd all snatch your hands off for it. So, do you know what I mean? I think we've done well there, and I think Sporting, they're not an elite team, but they're certainly not a pushover, and we perform well. We've got that late goal, Havertz off the bench, Martinelli off the bench, showing a bit of the depth we've still got in our squad, even though we've got so many injuries at the minute. But yeah, enough about the Champions League anyway. Let's look at the week, and let's just remind ourselves, people, how things stand at the minute. So I'm just going to run through. Let's look at the top eight. So Arsenal sit top, 31 games played and 70 points. Man City sit in second, 30 games played, 61 points. Manchester United sit in third with 31 games played and 55 points. Villa sit in fourth with 31 games played and 54 points. Liverpool in fifth, 31 points, 31 games, 49 points. Chelsea sit in sixth with 31 points and 48 points. And then you've got Brentford and Everton that hold the 7th and 8th spot respectively, both with 31 games played and both with 46 points. If you take City and Arsenal out of it, we'll talk about that title battle in a minute. United 55 points, Villa 54 points, Liverpool 49 points, Chelsea 48 points, and Brentford and Everton 46 points. I feel like United have probably just got enough now to, especially with the fifth spot being opened. I feel like United have just got enough to kind of stay there, and I think Villa will limp over the line and stay there. Maybe they might switch positions. United might finish fourth, Villa might finish third, or vice versa. Whatever. I think the top four. I think personally, the top four is pretty set in stone. I feel like how it is now is how it will finish. Just give or take who finishes where. It's really that fifth spot that's up for grabs. And I think the way that Liverpool, Chelsea are playing, it could easily be a Brentford or Everton that finish in that fifth spot. I don't think Liverpool will hold on to it. I don't think Chelsea can hold on to it. And Brentford and Everton, if they could get it, fantastic. I think Liverpool's just been so inconsistent. You know what I mean? Some big injuries, a lot of players departing now, like Salah's going. Today, just about an hour ago, Robertson announced that he'll be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. So it's a big change of the guard there from that team that's been so dominant and so good for Liverpool, winning so many titles, winning so many competitions, Premier League twice, Champions League, FA Cups, Carabao Cups, so on and so forth. It's starting to now slowly get dismantled. And look, this happens in football. Every team's gone through it. It's just how you can bounce back from it. They spent a lot of money in the summer gone. They're going to have to spend a hell of a lot of money again this summer to get things right. And I feel like if they haven't got a Champions League spot, I don't know budget-wise if they can do that. They've probably got a lot of players on big wages. I know they're going to get a lot of big wages off the wage bill now. We'll see how it goes. I can see another one going. I'm pretty confident. I think Van Dijk's going to leave in the summer, and I think he's going to go and either finish his I don't know how to put it. Either finish his better playing days off in somewhere else in Europe and then go abroad to a Saudi or an America somewhere, or maybe he just might make that move now. You know what I mean? He's 34 years old. The league's very quick. I think it's just a bit. I think this season's been just a bit too quick for him. And I think, him not really being at his best this season and Salah not performing this season, I think has led him to be in this position they're in, scrapping for the last Champions League place. Whereas, last season they won the league and with the summer they had, everyone expected them to steamroll the league again. Doesn't always work out like that. But yeah, let's have a look at the games. Let's get into it a bit. And we'll talk about people's standings in the league as and when we go through it. Okay, so Arsenal Bournemouth at 12:30. It's the first. Well, there's a Friday night game, and that's the first one to kick off the weekend on the Saturday. I'm going to go back and touch on that one for the Arsenal fans, obviously because I'm an Arsenal fan as well, so I want to spend a bit more time with that. But if we just run through, so massive game, Brentford versus Everton on Saturday at 3 p.m. These two both, like I said, fighting for that fifth spot. Big game for them too. It's at Brentford. I'd expect Brentford to probably get over the line. They're very good at home, but I wouldn't be surprised if Everton went and got a result there. I think we're going to see some very weird results this week in the Premier League. I think it's always like that when there's been an international break and they come back after a while not having played Premier League football. So I think we could see some weird results. So if Everton went there and won, I wouldn't be surprised either. Liverpool have got Fulham at 5:30. Liverpool have really got to bounce back. They've really got to bounce back. Do you know what I mean? They've had an awful last week. Gone out of the FA Cup to City, getting thumped 4-0. And look, City can beat anyone on their day, and they're still one of the, if not the best, one of the best teams in the league. I know they're not top of the league right now, but the players they've got, the football they can play at times, the way they can adapt their game, one of the best teams in the country, probably still in Europe, let's be honest. But to get thumped 4-0 by them is damning, really damning, especially when Liverpool aren't in the title race and an FA Cup was a viable trophy they could have won, and now they're out of that. And with that result against PSG, losing 2-0 in Paris the other day, it's looking like they will finish this season trophyless. And yeah, to go off the high of winning a Premier League and then having the summer you did, bringing in Isak, bringing in Wirtz, it's troubling to see where they are. And I thought that it was going to be a player versus manager type thing. It looks like the board has backed the manager. Salah's going, Robertson's going. It seems like there's sort of a rift going on within that team. But look, it's not my team. It's not really for me to decide what's going on. But yeah, I seen a quote by Jamie Carragher, and Jamie Carragher was saying that players of the past at Liverpool have been arrogant in possession, but humble out of possession. And he's saying that these players are arrogant in possession, but also arrogant out of possession. They're not willing to do the hard, dirty work. I think he summed it up brilliantly. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the case in a lot of teams and a lot of big teams, especially when players come in and they haven't really grasped the kind of ethos of the team. But yeah, Liverpool versus Fulham 5:30. Liverpool at home. I think Liverpool will win. I think they'll bounce back. I don't think they're going to have this many run of bad results. So I think they'll bounce back and I think they'll get the win. Look, Isak's back as well. It's going to be Robertson and Salah's. They're coming towards their last games at Anfield. 5:30 under the lights. Well, maybe not under the lights because we're in the summer now, but you know what I mean. The evening kickoff. I think they'll have enough to get through, and the club will carry them through. And yeah, I think Liverpool will get the win there. Let's move on to Sunday. Some big games on Sunday as well. So we've got Forest Villa. Obviously, Villa fighting for that to keep that top 5 position. Forest battling for their lives. Sunderland versus Spurs. Spurs go away to Sunderland now. Sunderland have been fantastic this season. Do you know what I mean? They've been such a breath of fresh air for the Premier League, the way they played, the way they performed, the way the manager's got them playing. And it's a really tough place to go to. We found it hard to go there and we've dropped points there. A lot of big teams have dropped points there. Now, on the Spurs, and this is not just me speaking as like an Arsenal fan and obviously hating Spurs. I'm just going to be real about it. The way I see it is Spurs right now are in a position where they're fighting for their lives, yeah? If West Ham beat Wolves on Friday night, that puts Spurs in the relegation battle going into the weekend. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but they've got a game in hand. But look, all the top managers that has ever been in the Premier League, from Fergie to Wenger to Jose, Conte, Pep, Klopp, do you know what I mean? They've all always said you'd rather have points on the board than games in hand. And I think that's true of whether it comes to the top of the Premier League or the bottom of the Premier League. And I think Spurs are in a position now where having them games in having if they have a game in hand and they're in the bottom three, it's the pressure. And I think they're not performing at all under pressure. Do you know what I mean? Their fans have lost their heads. They're doing relegation parades outside the stadium to try and roll the team up, and it's not working. And look, they've brought De Zerbi, and De Zerbi's a football player manager. He wants to play tiki-taka football. He wants to play high presses and moving the ball quickly and playing through the lines more quickly. I don't think that's what they need right now. They needed some smash and grabs. They needed a Sean Dyche. They needed what Big Sam was to the league before. And I think what they've done is, they've brought someone in that wants to play the beautiful game, but the walls are crumbling. The house is on fire and they haven't brought a fire engine in. They've brought a Porsche. De Zerbi, great manager. Don't get me wrong. Like what he does with teams, I think is fantastic. But I feel like they got the wrong decision. I feel like it's going to be telling, and I think that they will go to Sunderland. I think they're not going to have the new manager bounce. I think they're going to lose at Sunderland. I'm not just saying it because I'm an Arsenal fan. Trust me, I'm saying it because I genuinely believe it. I think they'll go to Sunderland. I think it'll be a tight game. I think both teams will find it tough, but I think Sunderland will nick it 1-0, and I think they'll get away with it. And that really cements Spurs being down there. Let's just check this. So Spurs did go there and lose, like we're thinking. If we look at the bottom of the table, so like I said, West Ham go away to Wolves. If West Ham win that game, Spurs drop to 18th in the league. They'll have 30 points and be on 18th with a game in hand. But when they play, obviously that game in hand will be against Sunderland. So Sunderland is sitting in 11th, 43 points. I don't think they've got no real hope of really breaking into a European spot. But if they'll be pushing to finish top half. If they can finish top half this season, you know what I mean, and they're a point above Newcastle, their biggest rivals. Of course, they're going to be up for it. Of course, they're going to be on it to try and finish in that top half and finish above Newcastle. With all Newcastle have had in the investment and things like that, and the players they've had over recent times. If Sunderland can come in and do the business and finish above them, look how big that'll be for their city. So they're going to be up for it. And De Zerbi's come in. Has he had time to implement his tactics? Has he got the players to implement the tactics he wants? Is he too stubborn in the way that he wants to play to even try and adapt his game and just do some smash and grabs and play the dirty game and get out the relegation battle? I don't think he's got that in him. But yeah, Spurs could be well and truly down there by the end of this week. And like I said, if West Ham win and Forest win, they've really pulled ahead, and then Spurs are in really, really, really big trouble. I think it's looking bad for them. It's looking damning, you know what I mean? If they finish this weekend in the bottom three, and there'll be 6 games left of the Premier League season, they're in the bottom three. I think the writing could be on the wall for them. I think the writing could really be on the wall for them. Look, obviously I'd love it if they go down. I'm not going to wish it on them. If it happens, it happens. It's up to the footballing gods. But yeah, I think they're pretty much done. Sunday we've also got a big one, 4:30, Chelsea versus Man City. Massive game for 2 reasons. Obviously, the title race. City want to keep up momentum on Arsenal, keep the pressure on Arsenal, keep that gap to where it is, to where they can catch up their game in hand and then have to play us. If the gap stays as it is, and we're currently 9 points ahead. If they win their game in hand, and if they beat us at the Etihad, we'll be 3 points ahead. With there'll be 5 games to play after that, or 4. I can't remember. I have to check that, but let's say 4 or 5 games left. That's some real pressure. That's real pressure then. So City will be going all out for it. And look, Chelsea have been absolutely awful this season. They can't really put no real cohesion together, even though they are through in the FA Cup, but against Port Vale, but they still had to go and do it, and they won it. So have they put their eggs in that basket? They're a point behind Liverpool, and they're still in with a great shout of getting this Champions League space, especially with that 5th place being open. So look, they're going to be up for it. Man City are going to the bridge. They are better at the bridge. Whether they've got enough to stop this City team at the moment, I just don't think so. City have come into some real form. You know what I mean? That Carabao Cup win has done wonders for them, and they went and smashed Man City, and they'll be up for it. Do you know what I mean? And they'll be up for it. And look, if we look at City as a team now, in quote unquote a bad season from, which is what people are saying it's a quote unquote bad season from, they are still in a title race. You know what I mean? With 7 or 8 games left. They've got 8. They've got a game in hand. Obviously, with 7 to 8 games left, they're well within a title race. They've won the Carabao Cup. Looking like they'll probably go on and win the FA Cup. It's not really too bad, is it? If it's a season where they finish second and they pick up 2 trophies, then that's not a bad season at all. That'd be most teams' dream season. I think City are going to go away and smash Chelsea, even though I don't want them to, but I just feel like they have too much. I don't think City will drop many points between now and the end of the season. Saying that about City, let's get into Arsenal versus Bournemouth at 12:30 on Saturday. So look, there's a lot of injuries. I think there's training today. I think Odegaard missed training. I think that Saka missed training. Yuri and Timber missed training. So that's three big misses from training. Eze was back in training. He took part in a full training session, which is good news. I think the win at Sporting would have done us the world of good and kind of brought us back to that kind of winning mentality. But look, I'll be honest with you, this weekend, the Arsenal Bournemouth game, at this stage of the season, is just about getting results. It's just about getting results and getting over the line and moving on to the next one. I 100% agree. But for me personally, this game, I want to see a statement. I want to see a statement win. I want to see us really go and put it to Bournemouth and really put them on the back foot and win handsomely and win comfortably. And some of our star players getting on the goal sheet or getting on the assist sheet. I think we really need to send a message that we're not just going to be blown away. We're not going to bottle this league. And I think we've got to start building that winning mentality. This is why I was so devastated with we're losing the Carabao Cup final and going out the FA Cup. And a lot of fans, I've seen Arsenal fans saying, but at the end of the season, if we only won them two, we didn't win the Premier League or the Champions League, you wouldn't be happy about it. No, I think that we're in a position where we can't, beggars can't be choosers. We're not flushed with trophies over the last decade. We haven't won the Premier League for over 2 decades. In the last decade, I think we've only won, if you take the Charity Shield out of it, which I don't count as trophies, but Arteta does. We've only won the FA Cup. We need to start building a winning mentality in this club, and I think even a Carabao Cup would have started building that. Getting through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup would have started building that real winning mentality, and that's what we need to do. We just need to focus, hone in, and batter our way through the rest of these games and put in some good performances and put the pressure back on other teams and let them know that we're not going to be a blowover. It's not going to be easy. Show them that we can play the game. Show them that we can play football. We really need to win this title because we have to start building that winning mentality. Because I feel like if we don't do it this season, Arteta's going to have to go. And I feel like he's done so much hard work getting us from where we was to where we are. And he's had so much investment. He's been able to mould the teams that he wants, and it seems like he's got a really good relationship with the board. Now he does things there, and he really needs to just get over the line in this one. And I'm hoping he does. I'm really, really hoping he does. Just to go with kind of my team lineup and what I would do. Obviously, playing the typical 4-3-3 that Arsenal play, I'd go Raya in goal. And I'm basing this off just who I know is fit. So, you know what I mean? So there will be no Yuri and Timber in the team, no Saka in the team, and no Odegaard in the team, as far as I'm aware. No, they're saying Odegaard might be fit, actually, sorry. But definitely no Timber, definitely no Saka, from what we know. Arteta does like to play these games. But I would go Raya in goal, Ben White right back, Gabriel Saliba in the middle, Calafiori left back. I would go Zubi and Rice in the middle, Madueke, and I'd go Martinelli. I'd reward his. Actually, no, I wouldn't go Martinelli. I feel like Martinelli and Madueke on the wings is a bit all over the gaff, and I feel like Trossard brings a bit of structure to it. He'll drop in the pockets or drop in the 10. So I'd put Trossard in there, and then Gyökeres up front. Eze, I wouldn't start in the 10. I would be tempted to start Odegaard if he's fit. But look, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Max Darwin at this point. I'll be honest with you. I feel like he's been our most, definitely the player with the most flair. Definitely the most exciting player we got off the bench. Definitely someone who's got something different to unpick a lock. And if Eze's not fit and Odegaard's not 100% fit, I would not be opposed to seeing Darwin in that 10 role. Look, I know it's a big shout, but it's a big point in the season and there's big decisions need to be made. And I think that that could be one of them. I think if we don't see him starting, I think we'll see him in some capacity. I'm hoping that the injury list gets better by the weekend and we can go into this game with, a more solid base of a team. But yeah, man, I think we're going to go into it, and I think that the midweek result against Sporting has really helped us, and I think that we'll go into this with a lot of confidence. Actually, you know what? I don't think he's going to play Mad. I don't think he's going to play Odegaard. What is I think he might put Havertz in the 10. I think he might revert to more of a 4-4-2 in possession, and then maybe drop to a 4-3-3 with Havertz dropping to like a 10 role out of possession. I think he might go with that. Could be. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, I want a big statement win. I think we do it. I think Arsenal beat Bournemouth on Saturday 3-0. I think they beat Bournemouth 3 and we really send out a message. And then look, we can get over the line in this one and get the win. We'll have 6 games left, 6 games to wrap up this Premier League. You know what I mean? We're closer to the finish line than we are to the middle of the start now. So the pressure's on, and we've got to prove that we're not butlers, man. The pressure is on now. This is what you build the whole season up for. All them great results that we've done in the Champions League and the Premier League. Beating Bayern Munich, beating Atletico Madrid. Coming back against teams, beating Villa after they beat us, beating United early on in the season. Do you know what I mean? Getting that draw against City when it looked like we was going to lose. Some of these great results we've had in the Premier League, the Everton result the other day when Max Dowman came on and scored, they will mean nothing if we don't get over the line. Now it's when it counts. Now is when these players really have to roll up their sleeves and show what they're made of. And I think we've got what it takes, man. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share it. Thanks for all the love you've been showing me on Instagram. Thanks for the love you've been showing me on the Reels. We're up to 8K views on the page now on Instagram. On YouTube, we're up to 8K views on the page. You got 66 likes, like 84 shares. It's doing good, man. Keep supporting me, keep liking, keep sharing, and I'll keep bringing you content. Peace.